Well, I've been really looking forward to this chat since I finished your book, Body Conscious. And I just thought it was absolutely amazing. There was so much information in there, and I just can't wait to get stuck into it all with you. So, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a blessing to be with you again, and so appreciate your beautiful, kind words in regards to the book. It's really special to hear. So thank you.
Ah, you're so welcome. Well, I wanted to start off our chat with a concept that you speak quite a bit about in your book, which is feminine energy. So I'd love for you to share what your definition is of the feminine body and feminine energy.
Mm. So, of course, the feminine body is the physical components of the woman's body, the womb or uterus, ovaries, vagina, vulva, and beyond that, though, when I talk about the feminine body, I'm talking about the whole aspects of a woman and her whole body. So what she, all she is and all she be's physically, emotionally, energetically, and spiritually as well. And so when we take this broader scope of looking at the feminine body through this lens, we then can see such beautiful synchronicity and beautiful reflection upon the woman's body and our feminine essence, our feminine nature, and how we are so connected to all that is around us, all that is within our world. And so the feminine energy, I really sense, is this beautiful, creative, powerful, resourceful energy, but is also very receptive and that strong sense of being energy. In the sense that we can simply be who we are as a woman, and that in itself is powerful enough to create worlds.
Yeah, well, I love that. And that's exactly what you speak about in the book. And I feel like when I first came to see you, it was all about pelvic health. And you kind of introduced me to this concept of the feminine energy, tuning more into that being energy that I wasn't so much aware of a couple of years ago. So I'm so glad that you introduced me to that concept of just being able to connect with my body as well, which I think is just so powerful as well.
Absolutely. And this is the piece, right? Is that when we tune into and connect to our body as women, we have access to this infinite amount of wisdom and intuition, which often as women we tend to ignore and downplay and feel like we can't trust and that it couldn't be that simple. When in fact, when we come into this space in our body, when we tune into this space in our body, that is like our superpower as women. And
Yeah.
when we can connect to that feminine essence and feminine energy, we become so much softer within ourselves, and that inner critic softens, and we can approach ourselves with so much more gentle, loving kindness and compassion. And it is from that space then that we can really show up and share our truth in all of our authenticity, feeling really safe and comfortable to do that because we feel really safe and comfortable within ourselves and within our bodies as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's so powerful. Because when I read the first part of your book and you explained your journey and how you got to where you are today, I just resonated with me so much. I felt like that's exactly the journey that I went on, is just, allowing myself to kind of be open to all of this. I feel like it was always spoken about, but my eyes weren't open or my ears weren't open either. But just, being open and just allowing and just surrendering to what comes and just learning. So, um, yeah, thank you for sharing your story too in the book, because it was definitely relatable.
And so many women say the same, is that, oh my gosh, your journey, even though it's unique to me, of course, is so similar to what they've experienced for themselves. And they feel like often they're on this cusp of making real impact and change within their life. And there's this strong yearning for that, but unsure quite exactly how to do that. And I myself was in that same experience of, I really want these things to shift and change for me, but how do I do that? And what I learned is that how is not the question. It's really be with yourself, and you don't even need to know how. Every next step will just reveal itself to you as you're ready to take it.
Oh, yes, 100%. Oh, I love that. I love that. So, I want to talk a little bit about pelvic health, because when I first came to see you a couple of years ago, it was about pelvic floor health, and at that time, I just had my 2 kids, and I had an overactive pelvic floor, which I had never heard of before, but you explain in the book that it's quite common. So do you mind sharing with everyone why it's just so important to be aware of the health of our pelvic floor and how it affects our well-being?
Yes, absolutely. And it is interesting that often women uh, sense that there is something not I'm going to say quite right, because that is the sense that they have within their pelvic floor. And there's this assumption that it must be weakness, or that, there's a lack of strength or support in some way. But often it's actually pelvic tension, where we're holding ourselves and gripping our pelvic floor, which really correlates to how we often move through our days as women, really holding it all together, and sort of struggling really to move throughout our day and treading water and feeling like quite anxious and that real tension within ourselves. Uh, and the pelvic floor is often such a beautiful reflection of how we are moving about our days and going about our life. Other women who experience, for example, symptoms of pelvic organ prolapse, maybe incontinence, and even then, that can be a sort of secondary to actually pelvic floor tension. But sometimes women do sense it is a lack of strength and a lack of support, and that is exactly how they're feeling in their lives, is that they don't have this strong foundation and strong support to move from. And so, of course, our pelvic floor is what helps us to maintain continence. What is our deep core support. It's part of the deep core, so helping us to move our bodies, feeling with ease within our bodies. It helps us in terms of sexual function, in terms of orgasm. And so when we're feeling really safe and connected to this space in our body, when it feels healthy, and we can move about our day with confidence, we can feel connected in our partnerships, in our relationships with others, and most importantly, we can feel really calm and connected in our relationship with ourselves. When we don't feel the support from the pelvic floor, when we feel that pelvic tension, when we feel disconnected from the pelvic bowl, perhaps through feeling ashamed of this space in our body, then we don't move through our world with that same ease and calm and confidence and connection to others and the world that we're in, but most importantly to ourselves. And that's often what I see for women who want to experience this sense of ease in their life, is that there is this disconnect from the pelvic bowl. And when we can tune into this space, there is so much wisdom that is held there. So much of the health of our pelvic bowl really reflects the health of our life. And so there's so much interconnectedness there. And what I sense also is this being such a powerful center of creativity, not only just in terms of life creativity, but all things that we birth into this world, whether it's a book, a way of mothering, a podcast. This is the seed for all creativity. So when we're feeling disconnected from this space, we're disconnected from that sense of powerful creativity, and that sense that we may not be actually the creators of our own reality, when in fact we are.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. And like you were explaining in the book, like with a few exercises and activities that you can do, I've marked quite a few of them that I can't wait to start practicing. I've actually done a few of them, and some of them are what we did in our session too. I remember, so that was pretty cool that you outlined a few of them in here. But what I love about them is that it's just, and what you explained too, it's all about just grounding and becoming just self-aware. Self-awareness is a concept that you speak about so much in the book. And, the concept of flow, and you mentioned that it was part of your journey also. But what are some ways that we can start becoming more aware of our body and, what it's trying to tell us?
Such a good question. And to just affirm and highlight that this work is, it's actually all so simple, and really comes back to tuning into yourself, listening to your body, and taking action from a place of being in response to your body, rather than trying to move through your world disregarding the signs of our body. And so it really becomes as simple as stopping for a moment, taking a notice of, how do I feel when I feel really calm, really ease filled, peaceful in my world, when I feel really joyful, when I feel good, when I simply feel good, what does that feel like in my body? And when I don't feel like that, what does that feel like in my body? And what is it that I'm being, not even necessarily doing, but how am I being with myself that has that feel different for me? And the ways in which we can tune into ourselves, it might be through breath, it might be for mindful body awareness, it might be through actually looking at how, when I go for a run, for example, like, how am I tuning into my body before I do that? Am I pushing myself to take this run, or am I doing this from this space of nurturing and nourishment for myself? And so it really becomes a question too around, how am I being with my body, and how am I treating my body, and then how am I responding to its needs? And the practices that we can do for that are many and varied, but at the root of it all, that's as simple as it is: tuning into your body, responding from there.
Yeah. And like you said, like it's that simple, but I feel like it's a journey in itself, just that whole becoming aware of your body. But once you're there, it's just so powerful, like so powerful. Um, yeah, it's definitely something to look into. And like you said too, it kind of leads, like, once you're aware of what's going on in your body, then anything that might come up, whether it's emotionally or physically, you're in control, which I think is so powerful too.
Yeah, absolutely. And often it's a, excuse little Baba Jimmy. Hey, often it's a space to what do women have access to that feels really easy for them. So meditation isn't resonant for everybody. For example, hands on body work might be the better way that you connect with yourself. That might be the access point, or it might be you're a mover and you really love to move your body, but we haven't really thought
Mm,
about the foundations as to what our movement means to us, how we're expressing ourselves through movement, what movement is for energetic nourishment versus punishment. And it's all coming back to, those intentions behind how we are moving through our world. And so, what I do love to offer women is this ultimate permission as well, that your way of exploring yourself and your connection to your body is actually limitless, and it doesn't need to look like my way or Carmel's way or any other woman's way. And that we all have the capacity to actually have this profound connection with ourselves and to bring this wisdom to life. And when we do it in a way that feels really intuitive to us, when it feels really connected for us, when it feels like it's really our own way, then that's when we know that we're getting it right, that you can't get it wrong, but you can really feel like, yes, this is my path for me, this is my journey, and I'm on it.
yeah. Oh, I love that. And I feel like now that I know, what my body needs and what it wants every day, if I kind of miss out on a day of moving my body mindfully or a practice, then I kind of feel off. And I know it's because I haven't given myself, the love and the attention that I need to be able to function as a mum, and all of the other hats that I wear too.
Exactly. And so that's when your body then becomes your ultimate navigation tool, because it's fine to actually feel a little bit off, and we don't need to wrong ourselves for feeling like that. But then that's an invitation to go, okay, well, what would have me feeling on again and on path and on track and really aligned in my life? And that's exactly what it is, a simple invitation, the body saying, okay, let's adjust the way of action from here, and then it can feel good again.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or share that we may have missed out on?
No, I think that are feeling really good in this conversation. Um, Other than to say, I mean, it's quite obvious that I'm here with my baby and he's grabbing at the microphone, and here we are in our connection and conversation together. But for me, this is actually being in it and in the flow and being real as women. And of course, it's great and beautiful to have conversations where there's no interruptions and there's no sounds and all of those things. But I really believe in women connecting with women on this level as well, where it's real, and we can be inviting of all that is and welcoming of our whole selves. And this is exactly a demonstration of that, a woman in her wholeness and in full acceptance of what is in this moment.
Yep, I agree. Because we all can relate. I can definitely relate.
Jimmy just wants
100%.
to sing for us today. Yeah.
Uh, how old is he now? He's 4 months? 5 months?
Yeah, approaching on to 5 months, so 4.5, we'll say.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, we won't take too much of your time. I know he's probably hungry. You just wanted
He
to get
thinks he
out, that's
is.
all.
He thinks he is. Always hungry, these babies.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show again, Taryn. Um, it's been so nice chatting with you, and I really like working with you. Um, a couple of years ago, just really introducing me to these concepts. Like I was reading, I'm like, oh my goodness, we did that, or Taryn spoke about that. So it was just such a great reminder that now I can have this at home with me and refer back to whenever I need to. And I also wanted to say thank you for the journey that you've been on too, and acknowledge you for all the work that you've done. Because if it wasn't for you, then we wouldn't be here today and you wouldn't be sharing this work with all of these women. So thank you.
And thank you also for exactly that, reflection for me, but the same within yourself as well, for the same reasons, is that again we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be sharing this information and celebrating all that it is to be a woman and in a woman's body, if you didn't have this platform. So thank you for your podcast. Thank you for moving through it with me and being patient with me and little Bobby here, and
Of
for sharing my book
of
so
course.
beautifully.
Oh, of course. Well, please share with everyone where they can find you and where they can buy your book as well.
Thank you. So you can find me on Instagram and on Facebook. Everywhere I am just my name. So Taryn Gaudin. My website is taryngaudin.com, and that is the best place if you're an Australian resident to have a look and purchase a copy of Body Conscious. And for people outside of Australia, Amazon is perhaps the best place to grab a copy of the book there.
Awesome. Well, all of this information will be in the free downloadable, which is in the show notes. But guys, grab yourself a copy of the book. Like I said, it has definitely deepened my awareness, and the activities and the practices in here are just amazing. So if becoming more body conscious, more creating more self-awareness is a goal of yours, definitely grab yourself a copy. So thank you so much again, Taryn, for coming on the show, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.
Thank you.